All right, good morning, everyone. We'll go ahead and get started. As I told everybody in the email yesterday, we're pleased to be joined by our Vice President for Intercollegiate Athletics, Dr. Lisa Campos. So we'll take questions for her first, and then Coach Traylor for the rest of the half hour. JJ?
Lisa, can you just kind of tell us the emotions that were flowing through the department, the last week or so, and specifically yesterday when you guys made this announcement?
Pure excitement and joy. What we've been through over the last few weeks, from being nationally ranked for the first time in program history to conference realignment to being able to solidify Coach being our coach for years to come. This program, this department, the staff, the coaches, other coaches could not be more excited. They understand the importance of football. They understand how that helps their programs, how it's going to help continue to elevate the entire athletics department. So the amount of messages and phone calls I received from folks within our department was overwhelming these last few days, and particularly yesterday.
Was there a sense of urgency to get Jeff's contract extended this week, or had that been the plan all along?
Jeff and I talked about this over the summer. As I said before, that I don't have a crystal ball, but I believe in Jeff and his staff, and knew that this was going to be an incredible season. I couldn't have anticipated an undefeated season thus far, because we know that wins are very, very hard to come by. But we knew that it was going to be a really special season. So I said, Jeff, I don't want to be thinking about this in November, December. We need to really be thinking about this, September, October, and had an opportunity to meet with his agents. And so we knew all along we wanted to move forward with his contract. But then obviously what was unfolding last week, we wanted to eliminate the distractions for his team. You all know Jeff, he thinks about his team first and foremost. And that was maybe the sense of urgency last week, was just to put that to bed for his team.
Greg?
Lisa, as you guys were going through this process, what were the biggest things you wanted to emphasize or make sure showed up in a new contract?
Yeah, a couple of things. Obviously, the commitment by both sides, right? That we want Jeff to be here for a long time, and we want to demonstrate that we're very committed to him. So that was really important. We recognize going into the American, we need to make an investment in his staff and in his assistant coaching pool. And as you can imagine, Jeff is very selfless, and that was the last thing he talked to me about was, and his agents talked to me about was his personal situation. But he's worth it. He has a value that's up in the American Conference, and knowing that we're going to make that move, it was really important to also address his personal situation.
It seems like he was willing to make a little bit less than he might make somewhere else just for the opportunity to continue building this program and staying here. What kind of message does that send to you, and how does that sort of change the importance of keeping him?
Well, it doesn't surprise me, just knowing Jeff and how he's committed to his players and to this university. I think it also demonstrates that, this community and this department's been very good to him, and we're both in this together. And with the president, that I'll go back to 2 years ago when we were interviewing Jeff, and we just always talked about, from the president to the AD to the head football coach, all have to be in alignment. And I think Jeff feels that here. He knows that that's what's happening. And so again, it just shows a commitment by both the university and by him.
Chris?
Yeah, Lisa, how much did the move to the American help what you guys were able to offer Jeff? Obviously, you talked about expanding the athletic budget as well down the road. I mean, how much does that play a role in terms of kind of what the final contract was?
Tremendous role. I mean, we wouldn't be able to do this if we weren't moving into the American, and the revenue stream coming from the American is the reason why we were able to do this.
And what has been the reaction from donors and people like that in wake of the conference move, and what that means for the athletic department and Jeff moving forward? Our
donors, our community, they are continuing to step up, from whether it's, again, just promoting us, whether it's giving an extra donation. We have new folks. Last night, as I was trick-or-treating with my kid, just everyone I ran into said, listen, we're all buying tickets to the next games. This is something special going on. So the community feels it, and it's really fun to witness that and to be a part of that. And so it's just been huge what Jeff's been able to do, bring national exposure to this university, but to see the city also stepping up has been really fun.
And going back to when you hired Jeff, 2 years ago, what stood out the most? What made you believe he was going to be the right guy for the job?
It's a great question. There's a lot of things. I've shared with folks that, and I'm not kidding, it was within the first, 5 to 7 minutes of him coming into that interview that Jeff and I had an immediate connection. I don't know if he'll say the same thing, but for me, I just felt like we had a real immediate connection. And we talk about this all the time, that we need more people like a Jeff Traylor coaching 18 to 22-year-olds. I always talk about it. I got into higher education because of my background. I want to have a positive impact on 18 to 22-year-olds as I had mentors in my undergraduate experience. And Jeff and I are about the same things. And it is not just about football. We're excited that we're 8-0, but it's more than that. And if you can, you've had the opportunity to spend time and be around him as he leads his students, that came out so much in that interview. Then, that was number one. Then obviously just the respect he has across Texas and really nationally, that we knew he was going to be a great fit for UTSA because of his Texas connections, the respect that people have for him. And then he knows how to develop a staff, and he knows how, obviously how to coach, but also how to develop his staff and let them do their thing as well.
And what was that like yesterday, announcing that to the team and the reaction there?
It was amazing to see the reaction. I had no doubt that was going to be the reaction. It's funny, I might have drawn it out a little bit that I don't know what they thought I was going to say, but it was just total elation in that room. And it just speaks a lot to Jeff and how those guys feel about him.
All right, we've got 2 more for Lisa, then we'll move on to Jeff. Greg?
Lisa, this deal puts Jeff at or near the top of the new AAC. Was that important for you guys, or a goal that you set just to sort of have that benchmark and to be at the top of the league and show that you're willing to make that commitment at that level?
Yeah, absolutely. We need to continue investing in staff and coaches, just like Jeff, who again are in alignment with the things that we're trying to do. And again, this move, it's really big for us to go into the American, and we need to commit and grow and get the support to do that. So yes, it was important to, we always want to be competitive in the league that we're in, or that obviously we're going into.
And how did you have to weigh sort of the burden it might put on the department if at some point during this 10-year period you guys decide to move on for whatever reason? Did you have to sort of think about the impact that could have, or ways to minimize potential issues there?
Are you talking about the if Jeff were to leave?
Well, the other way around. If you guys were to decide to move on for whatever reason, and the impact.
You know what, Greg, I don't even worry about that. You know what, Jeff, if people haven't figured out Jeff's the winner, to be around him, he is relentless. He's a competitor. He prepares the team. He prepares his staff. I have no doubt, again, we would not have been having the conversations this summer if I didn't see something in Jeff and we didn't believe in what he can do. And I just don't want him to kill himself doing this, because he works so hard. He goes into every game so prepared. He, again, is just so competitive. And then on top of that, he's doing this while building these young men into just incredible individuals.
Hey, Nick.
Hi, good morning, Dr. Lisa Campos.
Morning.
Actually, I wanted to ask you about Betty Cerna. I know just a week or two ago, you just hired her, and man, with the fan engagement on social media and everything going, I just wanted to get your thoughts a little bit more of the hire and about her and just about the position.
Absolutely. Yeah. Betty's a rock star. People in the industry may be scratching their head that we went a non-traditional route. But if people know me, I do like doing things non-traditional from time to time. And Betty has an incredible background and experience in marketing. She has corporate experience with AT&T, running her own business. And when we had conversation, she's like, okay, like she knew she's going to have a bit of a learning curve with athletics. She is tremendously smart. I said, Betty, you're going to figure this out very quickly, what athletics is about. And she does. She puts everything into her work, and she's has great relationships across this city. So she's going to do some great things for this department.
All right. Thank you, Lisa, for joining us this morning. We'll move on to questions for Coach Traylor.
Thank you.
All right, JJ.
Hey, Jeff, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you, JJ?
Not bad. Just can you recap or just give us an idea of your emotions over the last week or so?
First of all, sorry about your Braves last night, JJ. I know that kind of ruined your mood, and only Greg would already be talking about me getting fired on the very first day of my contract. I mean, what are we doing, man? I thought we were closer than that. God. All right, let's get to work. I'm excited, obviously, JJ. This is a huge relief for me. I thought it had become a distraction. I was worried about my players having to answer it so much. Dr. Campos and President Amy have been so proactive in getting this thing going for a long time. You don't do a deal this big in a week, right? This has been going on for months. And we had already targeted, the open week would be a great time to do it. We didn't know we were going to be 8-0. We didn't know there was going to be so many distractions at the exact same time. We can't predict the future. But I thought it was very important we get this thing done for my players' sake. And I couldn't be more grateful to President Amy and Dr. Campos for just giving me my chance, to give me an opportunity. And there was a sense of loyalty that I felt to those two people, to this university, this community, this city. Let's be honest, y'all have treated Carrie and I and our kids so great since we've been here. It's a huge city, but it has such a small town feel. And I'm a small town boy married to a city girl. So it's just a perfect fit for Care Bear and I.
Okay, Chris.
Yeah, Jeff, how much did the news about, UTSA moving to the American and moving up, impact your decision to want to stay here?
So many things lined up. I mean, this has been our vision since the day they hired me. I'm on record as talking about TCU and the University of Miami and Central Florida. And we really see that place as this. We know we're not there. We don't want to be that arrogant, but we're moving in the right direction. We're definitely trending up, and we've got a long ways to go. But moves like this make sure boosters, alumni, recruits, our fans know how committed I am, our staff is, but also how committed UTSA is, and President Amy and Dr. Campos and our boosters and our board of regents.
In when you applied for the job, interviewed for the job, what did you see, could be done here?
I always wanted this one. I'd stayed in high school to raise my kids. I had opportunities to get out, and people told me I was crazy back then, for not getting in. And I was going to be too old by the time my kids got out. And then, Coach Strong was kind enough to hire me, and this is the job I wanted. I just thought it was a good fit for me. I love San Antonio. I've been down here many, many times. My daughter played club volleyball down here too many times. And so I loved coming down here. And y'all didn't hire me the first time. And I wasn't ready, honestly. I thought I was ready. You know me, I always think I'm ready, but I wasn't ready. So it was good for me to kind of get roughed up and see some more ways of doing it, because it helped prepare me for that day. And I knew when I left the interview that President Amy and Dr. Campos and I had made a connection. And I really felt like she was going to hire me and he was going to hire me. And I remember driving back to Fayetteville that day in my truck, listening to Lauren Daigle. And I'll never forget when she called me. and told me it was mine. And I'm grateful for that. And I hope this shows how appreciative I was and my staff was, because I will always be grateful for that opportunity they gave me.
And it may be obvious now, but there could be a lot of coaching changes in the state of Texas. A lot of people will probably throw your name around. Is it safe to say that's, all done now?
You never can stop people from talking, right? And because of my Texas connections and my staff's Texas connections, we got 7 Texas high school football coaches on our staff. I was a Texas high school football coach, so that's going to always happen. I've tried to treat people really good for 32 years. I've done my very best. So my name is probably going to always come up, but I just believe a 10-year contract with such a large buyout will help simmer down some of that talk so my players cannot have to answer those questions.
Okay, Greg.
Jeff, no hard feelings. I don't want you to still be mad at me.
Debbie Downer. Debbie Downer.
Saved it to the end. I thought that was nice. Anyway, why for you was being here for the long term more important than potentially making more money at another program? Why was that something you valued more highly than other opportunities that might be out there?
Well, y'all are starting to know me pretty well. I wear the same pair of ostrich boots that I wore 11 years ago. I just go get them resold, right? I've got my same costume I wear. I got about 6 jackets, a few shirts I twist up in there. I have my cap on at all times. I'm a very simple creature. And I just, how much is too much? And I just don't need that kind of stuff. I'm very grateful for the bosses that I work for. I know how much they believe in me. And there's a tremendous sense of loyalty that I feel towards them for giving me my chance. Most people would not have done that. Many people had their chances and they did not. But President Amy, Dr. Campos, they did bet on me. So I thought this was a great, a show, an example of me betting back on them. Both sides extremely committed to the future that Dr. Campos and President Amy have for this place. And we know we're not there. I hope no one thinks we're being arrogant. We're not. We have a long ways to go, but we're heading in the right direction for sure, Greg.
What were the biggest things that you needed to see in a new contract to make sure that this was a place you could succeed and a place you needed to be?
My players first. I wanted to make sure they got what they needed. We needed more staff. We needed some more people in the weight room. We needed to up our budget for how much we feed our kids and the nutrition they get. They're eating properly. Nutritionists. There's so many things going on behind the scenes that aren't even, in the contract written, because I trust Dr. Campos and I trust President Amy so much. There are many things going on right now currently that people don't even know about. We're trying to help our kids. So it was my kids first, my staff second, and then Care Bear third. I had to get Care Bear taken care of, and she does not want to leave San Antonio. So they made it where we could stay here. And I've still got 3 children, right? And for some reason, they still like Dad to help them for some reason. But they're doing better. They're doing better.
Like you mentioned, there is a pretty good chunk in there for support staff. Where specifically is that going to go, or how is that going to impact the program?
They gave me liberty to do with that how I wanted to. And we've got that all worked out. And it's just, I don't want to spend a ton of time on that right now. But I also know from being in the University of Texas system for a long time, the bureaucracy moves. So I got to get going on some of these job deals right now because the wheels turn slow. And I've been a member of this now, being a Texas high school teacher, right, at the University of Texas and UTSA. They've got this system down to a science. It moves slowly. So we got to get moving because January 1, 2022 will be here quickly, but I got to beat UTEP as well. And if we don't do that, y'all probably won't be as nice to me. I say nice. You're already talking about firing me on day 1. I still can't get over that, Dr. Campos.
All right, Nick.
That's why I didn't know if that's what he was asking.
Come on, Greg.
All right, Nick, we'll go to you.
Hey, good morning, Coach Jeff Traylor, and congratulations on the new contract. My question for you is in regard to, you're always recruiting. I know this past Friday you went to the Steel and Jetson game, so I just want to get your thoughts on what you saw out there, and any potentials that you saw.
There's so many things that people don't really understand about recruiting. We can only go to a school one time in a semester, right? So we'd already burned most of the schools in the city. We intentionally picked Converse, Judson, and Cibolo. We can't predict the future. I mean, we don't know which game's the best game. So we got people mad, in the city that I wasn't at their game. Well, we can't. We can only go to one. We can only go to their school one time in a semester. So I hope people understand that. It's not that I'm playing favorites to Cibolo or Converse Judson. It's just that's the way the schedule all worked out for me to get out there. But it's awesome being in the city. I mean, everybody that I ran into was, Coach, please don't go, please don't go. And I knew that we were going to announce this Sunday. We were just trying to keep this thing as quiet as we possibly could. That shows you how much our board of regents, Dr. Campos and President Amy are people of character, and my agents as well. Most of the time, people leak this stuff, and it didn't get leaked. I really wanted that to be a special moment for my players. Now, I did tell Dr. Campos I hope they didn't boo me when she made the announcement, and thank goodness they didn't boo me.
Okay, JJ.
Jeff, what did it mean to you to be able to tell the players and get that reaction from them yesterday?
I've had a lot of special moments in my career. And I know I hate using the word but I almost sound narcissistic. But in that moment, it was one of those moments I'll always remember. One, because I shared it with Dr. Campos, because she truly did see something in me that's different. And she believes in the same thing that I believe in about the student athlete. She's never spoken to me about winning, and I don't talk to my players about winning. We just believe in doing things right. And if you do things right, you're going to win your fair share. Second, my players, just how they responded to me, it'll always mean the world to me. I'm so grateful to you, JJ, for getting that. I thought you did that very professionally. You didn't put out there all the words I said. You just shared the moment with people, right? And I'm very grateful for you for doing that, JJ. You were straight class in that situation.
Greg?
Jeff, how did this situation with Texas Tech last week sort of change the way these negotiations unfolded in the last week? Did you have a communication with them or even a formal offer from them?
This is totally about our players. We were tired of the distractions. So Dr. Campos and I really wanted to get in front of this, and President Amy. So this was nothing but about our players. We were tired of that, and that's why we made this move.
Is there anything else for Coach Traylor? Chris?
Yeah, kind of a big game this week with UTEP. What do you see out of the minors?
Great question, which is, again, why we did this. We really hoped our kids are prepared. They know y'all going to ask them about it, right? But we're hoping, by Wednesday, this thing will be all over. And that's all our kids will be talking about. They're prepared for y'all's questions. We know they're coming. But like you're saying, we had to be focused on UTEP. And I'm just going to tell y'all this to ease everybody's minds. We had the best practice we ever had last night. There was more juice flying around that place. Full padded workout. Pads were popping. Kids were going crazy. They're a really good football team. Coach Demble's done a fantastic job. They're very much like K-State. If you go back and study Bill Snyder's teams, Coach Demble worked for him. They're very methodical on offense. They execute. They move the chains on third down. They run the football. They're really good on defense. They fly around to the football. And they're just kind of an old-fashioned football team. It's very K-State-like, and we have a lot of respect for them. We also know how hard it is to play in the Sun Bowl, especially a 9:15 kick. It's going to be a hornet's nest out there. But I know this. Our kids believe in us, too, and we've got a good team as well. And the triangle will travel, and we'll show up just like they will. It'll be a heck of a ball game.
I'm curious, what was the reaction you got from coaches with the news yesterday, whether at the high school or the college level?
I had 769 texts last night, and I got all those done, and I woke up to about 185 more, and I would say 2/3 of them were Texas high school buddies. mainly saying I'm buying the sweet tea and the queso the next time they're at the Riverwalk. So, you know, those guys have been my guys for a long time. And I'm so grateful that they're happy because I feel a tremendous burden to the Texas High School Coaches Association that our product we put on the field should be a reflection for those guys. And I never want to let those guys down.
Hey, Greg.
Jeff, it seems like you guys, just based on our media schedule, are going back to a little bit more of a more normal practice routine compared to when we talked about it last week and thought it might be a little bit different. What are kind of the logistics of coming through the end of last week and going through this week?
Yeah, well, we got a waiver just because we had a class schedule situation, light situation. So there's no way we could have practiced today. We tried, we wanted to, but we just couldn't do it. So we were granted a waiver. So it'll be a normal schedule for the rest of the week.
Is that an advantage, or was there something potentially positive about working late? How do you guys kind of adjust to a 9:15 kickoff this weekend? It's so different.
We've worked hard on that schedule. We really have. We've changed some things up. We just don't want them laying around in their room that long. That's just a long time. I'm not so worried about my little skill kids, but all my 300-pound bears I've got, I don't want them turning that air conditioning on 55 and in that bed the entire day. So we're going to try to get them up and move them around a little bit so we don't look too sluggish. You know, I am getting a little older though, Greg. Y'all might have to wake me up at halftime. That'll be a little late for me.
JJ.
Jeff, for lack of better term, a lot of the fan base was pretty anxious last week about all the happenings going on. What would be your message to the fans that were just so excited yesterday when this announcement came?
You know, it means the world to me. I'm a human, and I don't care what anybody says. We all want to be loved. We all want to be liked. You can't make your decisions in life based on that, but we all want to be appreciated. And so many texts from so many of our boosters and so many messages. It's just, I'm extremely grateful and humble. I understand when a contract is that long and that large, there's going to be, you know, maybe a little negative out there. But for the 99% of everything I've gotten, it's been nothing but positive and excitement for the city. I went to go get my passport Friday. And I mean, just walking in the building, there were so many fans that just BirdsUp. We're getting tickets. Coach, can we get a picture? You can just tell the city's buzzing and hopping. And it's why the game of football is so special. And our basketball coaches, our soccer coach, our golf, tennis, volleyball, all of them are so excited for us because they understand that if our football team does well, it's going to generate so much more money for our department. So all of them benefit. Uniforms are better. Recruiting's better. Facilities are better. It's just, I'm just so excited that God has used me just to be maybe the straw that stirs the sweet tea when I mix my sweet and low in it with my lemon, JJ.
Anything else for Coach Traylor? All right. Thanks, everyone.
God bless. Birds up.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you all.